Welcome back to the Poppy Show. We have a full virtual studio today. It's full to capacity. Rio is back. You guys know Rio from the podcast.
Woo!
Address it. So, to Rio, welcome back.
Thank you, thank you. It's great to be here.
Awesome. And we have a very, very special, great friend of mine, Dr. Marr-Randall. Mar, thank you for being here today. Finally.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so
All
much
right.
Yes, you
for
are.
asking.
Yes.
This is great.
Yes. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, especially like because we always just like talked about it, and it's like, oh yeah, we'll find something.
Yeah,
Like
it
okay,
finally happened.
yeah.
This episode is sponsored by Starbucks. It's not. It felt good saying
What?
that.
Yeah.
One of these days, come on, Starbucks, do something for me.
I was gonna say like I didn't get any deliveries or nothing, so
Right?
Next time.
like if this is how we're gonna flex, like
So Michael could not be here today. Michael has a litany of technical issues, and then he's just busy doing other stuff that's more important than me. And I mean, can you imagine that? But anyways, so we're gonna continue without Michael today. So I posted something on social media a couple of days ago, and it was something like I feel like I've outgrown certain friends of mine, and they're taking up like space in my life, right? And it was actually Mar that said, you know what, this would be a great topic for the podcast because it didn't even
yeah,
cross my mind. So thank you for that.
yeah.
Yes,
So
thank you.
yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about today is it possible to outgrow friendships or like people, and like what are the signs, the telltale signs that that's happening? So I actually did some research, believe it or not, and I found this article that lists the top 9 telltale signs that you've outgrown somebody. But before we get to that, is it okay if I ask you guys a few questions?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So, Mar, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Whew, okay. So, okay, my first question, Mar, I'm going to let you answer first. Do you
Okay.
think it's possible at all to outgrow friendships or just people in general?
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
Like I don't think it's not necessarily like a bad thing
Hmm.
either. Like sometimes people just grow apart. Like your lives change like quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you like move away and whatever. I want to get into that like a little bit deeper.
Yes.
I feel like that's something that we can talk about. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Rio, what about you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think sometimes people are in your life for a reason and also a season. So definitely,
Mhm.
um, yeah, that's how I feel. And
Yeah,
we
I
can get
always,
deeper into it. Yeah.
For
yes,
sure.
I agree. I always heard people say, "Oh, we just outgrew each other," and I always thought it was an excuse. Like it didn't make sense to me until I made that post a couple of days ago because it just hit me that you can outgrow people, and like Mara said, it's not a bad thing because sometimes I feel like you have to outgrow people, right? Because you don't want to be stuck in the same place, forever
Hmm.
and ever. Oh, look at me talking. Anyway, I don't even have a regular 9 to 5 job, but anyways, who am I?
Let's not
What
get
are those
into
like?
What do I
What are
know?
those like?
Okay, so my other question: can you outgrow other types of relationships, like not necessarily friendships, but what about family? Do you think you can outgrow like family relationships?
Oh yeah. Um, yeah, I think. Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's like we're gonna get into that one too. I think,
Hmm.
like for sure. But I think so. I got some stories, I guess. So,
Awesome. So here's the thing. What do you say, Rio? What do you say to those people who say outgrowing a friendship or a person or saying that is indicative of you thinking you're better than other people? What do you say to those people?
Oh, I would just be like, maybe you need to have a self look at the mirror. Maybe you need to look in the mirror at yourself. Is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, especially coming a year after the whole pandemic, I think no one is the same. Literally, no one is the same. Nothing is the same. So if you're not like changed in some way to either be a better version of yourself or to like become financially stable, because we realize, with the economy and everything, like at the end of the day, like that's what's happening. Um, yeah, I would just say look in the mirror because I mean, yeah, like it's hard to. I know that I'm not the same person that I was like 5 years ago
Right.
or even 10 years ago. Like I've changed physically. I've put on a few pounds. My
Oh Lord.
mindset has changed.
Oh my god.
I'm
Yeah.
more open. Things that I want to do in my life, those goals and visions have changed.
Mhm.
So I think just to be stuck where you are still, it doesn't show the best version of yourself.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Interesting. But here's the thing though. Thinking that you're better than someone, is that actually a bad thing?
I think that's a really weird thing. Sorry, is this still
No, no,
Rio's
no,
question?
go
Can
ahead.
I go back?
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, it's
because I
okay.
just I find that sort of thing like really like even just that phrase like oh they think that they're better than us or
Mm-hmm.
like do you think you're better than me? I think that's such a weird thing. It's like better in like what sense?
Right.
Like I don't think that, but like the circumstances that I have in my life kind of put me in a position that oh you know what like I'm kind of in a better position than
Mm-hmm.
like maybe some of my people that are like still in back east,
Yeah.
back on the east coast, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not saying that like I believe that I deserve more or like I'm you know better because of that, but like I'm just in I don't know I don't see that
Right.
like or at least I fight myself into like not seeing it in the same way
Yeah,
like not having that perspective because I think it's kind of demeaning
yeah,
not for me, but like demeaning like other people is
Yeah.
like, oh, I think you're lesser than,
Mm-hmm.
which is it's a weird position to be in.
Yeah.
But like, I hate that. I personally hate that phrasing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and I definitely agree with you, Mar. Actually, I just saw something on the internet where um, a quote is like, "People treat you how they see you."
mhm,
Not necessarily like what you do to them, but like what their perception is of you. And I think
mhm,
it's similar to say with that saying, when someone says, "Oh, you think you're better than me," I think the person perceives you to be better than them, and that's why they
yeah,
say that. And I think that's where the problem is. It's not like a you problem; it's perhaps
yeah,
a them problem. And I
Mm-hmm.
always used to get
yeah,
that, oh, you think you're better than me, or whatever the case may be. Particularly when I was in university,
mhm,
I got that from a lot of people, and it's like because just to give you a bit of context, I grew up um, in a not so good area. Education wasn't like taught to us at a young age. It's just like about quote unquote the street life, and there was a lot of poverty. And I just never had that mindset. Like, of course, I would play with, like, go outside and play with all the kids and stuff like that. But like, I just was never
mhm,
into like what they were into. And I always saw
yeah,
education to be like a way out of a situation
mhm,
and to better myself, quote unquote, better myself. In
right,
however you want to take that, whatever definition you think that is. And like when I got into university, people were like, "Oh, you think you're better than us? You think you're better than me?" But it's not that.
mhm,
I never said that. I
Right.
never looked
right,
at you different or less than myself. And I
yeah,
get it. Like I understand like education or going to university or school, some people aren't afforded that opportunity or don't want to. But I just saw that as my way out.
mhm,
So maybe people are also like intimidated when they say that or insecure, or
Or
mhm,
maybe
jealous.
don't have, or jealous, or maybe just don't have the same hand of cards or deck of cards that you might have and use it to their
mhm,
advantage.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely seems like something that's like it's that perception of it comes from someone that believes that they are less than someone else
Mm-hmm.
that they're looking up to. right?
Hmm.
Like, because I've never had that inkling that, oh, like I'm better than you. Like, I've definitely thought that, oh, you think you're better than me because
Yeah.
X, Y, Z. I've definitely done that for sure. But it's always to people that I perceive like above me in like some fashion, right?
Hmm.
Like, oh, they have more tech than I do. They have a house and I don't.
Yeah.
Um, all of these things that like I want for myself that I kind of project onto someone, and that kind of twists it too, because like they could be like great people,
Yeah.
and like you self impose that kind of restriction on them yourself, because you make these stories in your head too,
Yeah.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like, oh, I'm better. You think you're better than me? Like,
Hmm.
they didn't say any shit about it. Like, they
Exactly.
don't. Like, they might not even know you, and it's not even like about like them thinking they're better than you. Like, you're not on their radar. That doesn't. That's not a bad thing. Like, you just haven't entered into their world, or they haven't entered into yours, right?
Right.
So.
Absolutely. Sorry if I may. Just very
Sure.
quickly.
Mm-hmm,
On the flip side of that,
mm-hmm,
again in university, like I was just doing my own thing. I was a part of the student government association. I was like
mm-hmm.
a well-rounded kid. I was on the dean's list. Had a social life. Got my work done.
Who's keeping track?
Right. And I was in all sorts of extracurricular activities outside of school and within
Mm-hmm.
school. And then I also did like this program that is called Youth in Parliament, where it gives the youth age 16 to 30 a chance to be like a member of parliament. And so I
Oh, cool.
applied for that program, and I got the experience of to be in the parliament, and then just basically have like a constituency and represent them and like speak on a topic. And then like it wasn't until like a year after that, a classmate of mine in psychology, she came to me and she was like, you inspire me. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, well, basically how you were in youth in parliament, I applied to be in it. So that's how I got into it, because I saw you into it. And you
Oh,
just
wow.
inspired me, and I was like, wow, thank you so much. And I would never ever forget that, because it was like I'm going about my day. I i never like looked to say, okay, like I'm doing this for other people. I was just doing it for me. But in
Hmm.
turn I was able to inspire someone else
Yeah.
just by doing me. So I
Mm-hmm,
think on the flip side, I was able to better that person in that sense, if you want to look at
mm-hmm.
that. So yeah,
Oh,
You never
yeah.
know who's watching.
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
You never know. So I do want to ask you both for some very personal examples as to why, why you think you can outgrow people. But I just have one last question that really kind of made me think about my own self, made me introspect. So my question is, can outgrowing friends or people be a sign that perhaps you're not being as good a friend to them as you want them to be to you? So the
Mm.
reason why I asked this question is because remember that article I told y'all about? One of the first signs on that list is that the person doesn't respond to your text messages right away, or your emails, or your phone calls, or they seem distant, or you make plans to hang out and they always say, "Oh, I'm busy. I have to do this, have to do that."
Mm-hmm.
Um, like, sad to say, I'm that person. I don't want. I'm not that person.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not that person, like intentionally, but
Yeah.
I realize that I'm that person. Like, I take forever to respond to messages sometimes. Sometimes I don't even respond. I don't like talking on the phone. So if you call me, I'm gonna watch you
Mm-hmm.
call me. And just I can be a terrible person sometimes, and I get it. So does that mean that I'm doing something? Do I feel like I've outgrown these people because I have a personal issue that I'm not willing to look at, or is the other person actually the problem? You know what I mean? Like, it's just I can't seem to figure that out. If is am I the problem or are these people the problem? I don't know. I don't know. I have that battle with myself every single day.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I can be a better friend to people than I am, but I don't know if I know how to do that. Like, how do I if I see my phone ring, I don't just, how do I just answer it? I don't like doing that. You know what I
Right.
mean? I have to be true to myself, but at the same time, I don't want to lose good friends.
hmm That's those are definitely like two very different questions too. Like,
Yeah.
can I be a better friend?
Hmm.
And then it's like, did I outgrow them or did they outgrow me?
Yeah.
Like those are two very
That.
like they kind of go. They could fit to get like overlap like a little bit, but like those are very distinct like things. So I guess like you not answering your phone, like either there can be like an understanding that that's just kind of how you are, and you kind of it's like up to you
Hmm.
eventually to like just kind of call them back, right?
Yeah.
Like if I give you a call or like I just message you, like I know sometimes it just takes a while,
Yeah.
unless I'm like, let's go for Popeyes or something, and then it's like, oh, we haven't been for Popeyes anymore. And, like I get a response from you like so fast.
Yeah.
Like I should open up all my messages with like, so there was Popeyes.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, I know you, so I mean, like, I don't think that in terms of like our relationship, like, I don't think that like we've outgrown each other in terms of like friendship.
Hmm.
I just understand it takes time
Yeah.
for you to get back, and then when you get back, like, it's fine. I'm kind of like that with like a lot of my friends. Is like I have a I don't talk to my friends like from back home like as often as I do. Like usually if you're in like my like if you're in my circle, right? Like, and I can see you like every day, or if we're in a chat group or something, like that's different. But like reaching out sometimes it's kind of hard just to talk. But like usually like when I was able to come visit, like back east, it's like just picking up where you left off. Like that friendship never changed.
Yeah.
Like your relationship would never change. Like that in itself is a sign that you haven't outgrown your friends, or like your friends haven't outgrown you. Like they can outgrow you in different ways, like becoming a property owner, or like their job requirements are very different, or they just have something as simple as like a 9 to 5. Like like that's very different.
Yeah.
That's not them outgrowing you though,
Right.
right?
And you should want your friends to do better, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a jealousy. That's a you problem.
Hmm.
Like after a while, right? Like
Yeah.
so.
Hmm.
I get excited like whenever I see my friends doing better. I get excited because it
hmm
motivates me. It lets me know that what, if Mark can do that, shit, I can do that too. Like it's only a matter of
Yeah,
time. You know,
yeah,
like it's
yeah,
not out of my reach. Like I can do it. Like, and I like having rich friends, so I'm okay with
yeah.
that. I'm okay with Mar making 100 grand. I'll be like, yo, you got a Popeyes thing going
I
on.
wish. Yeah,
And
right.
you know you're paying, right?
But yeah, like my next birthday will be sponsored by Popeyes. No, it isn't. But like you watch, but it won't. Like but watch.
Oh boy. But yeah, okay. So Mar, this topic
yeah,
was your idea, and I'm glad it
yeah.
was because I love this topic. So
hmm
now I'm gonna open the floor to you,
hmm
and you can share like a personal example or examples of why this topic is important to you.
hmm Uh, I won't name names,
Okay.
but like if you know me, like for any of the listeners that like actually know me,
Hmm.
like you'll probably be able to pick out who it is I'm talking about.
Oh boy.
But to be honest, like I don't think like well, I'll let them listen to the podcast. I just won't advertise this episode. No. Like it's this guy's a really good friend of mine,
Hmm.
but it's like you always have like those friends that are they see you in a way that like you don't really like perceive that relationship.
Hmm.
Like he's like I grew up with the kid, right? Like I think I first met him like in middle school, and we've been like friends. Like oh yeah, I know him, and that was pretty much it. And we were always like really like cordial and like I don't know yet, yeah, whatever. And then I think it really started like picking up a little bit more like in university and stuff. And it's like, oh man, like you should, we should hang out. Like we should go drinking and partying and like blah 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 blah. And he became my roommate afterwards when I was in university.
Hmm.
Great guy. we're all slobs though, so that was kind of tough. Like that house was like fucking shitty. It was bad. It was just dirty, man, and like that's definitely no. It was gross, man. Like it was like we're just really bad at cleaning sometimes.
Mhm.
Like you're a bunch of dudes, and it's like, oh, this place sucks. It's like, no, it's fine. Like there's just dirt on it. It's okay, and it's like 3 inches of dirt like on your like TV. Like it's gross. Like I'm not proud of my life. Like I'm not proud of all aspects of my life,
Yeah.
but like I'm glad we both like might have outgrown that portion of it.
Yeah.
So like there were definitely parts where like he would impose like these stories of experiences that I've had, like not him, but like experiences that I've had
Mhm.
that he would like tell to people, and they would always just end up being the same stories. And that's when I first kind of like started like realizing it's like, this guy's kind of stuck. Like maybe he's not stuck in the same way that I am. Like everyone kind of gets like those stuck moments, but like it's like when you live in your glory days,
Yeah.
and then you just kind of keep reliving those stories, like that high school quarterback that just kind of keeps talking about
Right.
that one end goal that they got that won the championship for who the fuck cares about high school.
Yeah.
Like it turned into one of those, and then like as we just kind of kept growing older, like he's definitely excelled in different areas, and I'm like super happy for him. I mean, he looks at me as a brother, and like I definitely like I see him as that too. Like it took a little bit more for me, but it's like no man, like he's like my brother, but like you're kind of there are parts of you that I definitely have outgrown.
Mhm.
Like some of your attitudes and like just how you kind of show off and like whatever, but like because you kind of always just get stuck in the same cycle
Yeah.
of like partners and stuff, and you're
Oh.
just like I can only feel bad after like the first 7,
Oh.
but if it's like the same thing over and over and over again, and it's like you want this cookie cutter family, and you're always going for someone that has a kid, and like, oh, I can't wait to be a dad, and like you're looking for that,
Mhm.
and like you always end up looking for. It's either that or it's like university girls. Honestly, like the party girls,
Yeah.
the woo girl, the party girl, right? Like, woo! Oh my god, I'm so drunk. Let's party! Like fuck man, like I'm tired of it, man. Like I can't keep up with that.
Oh.
I don't know how he keeps up with it. Like that's just a whole like avenue that I'm like I don't want to do this. Like I don't drink too much anymore, if at all. So like, that's a whole thing that's like gone
Yeah.
from me, right? So like that's like me like outgrowing like somebody, and it sucks too because like you'll have like such a strong relationship with somebody, and then it's just oh man, like it's not like I'm sure like if we hang out and everything, like everything will be okay,
Yeah.
But there's definitely like aspects of it that's like, well, I can only really like let you into my life at a certain point,
Yeah.
like or like up to a certain point. Like I'm not gonna tell you about like these issues because these are not issues that you understand.
Exactly.
Like I go to my other friends for that, right?
Yeah.
Or like whatever story that you end up telling me,
Yeah.
like it's a fabrication for the most part, and then I have to figure out like what part I can actually use, like what part is fact. Like, oh, this girl's so crazy. Like that, I hate that statement so much. Like,
Yeah.
oh, she's just nuts. Like, what, man? Like,
Yeah. Like, what does that even mean?
if you got through like 7 and like every one of them has been like fucking crazy, like I think the onus is on you.
Yeah. Maybe you're the problem.
Like you're the crazy one, man. Like, yeah, that's just like one. That's just like one friend. So I mean, like, oh my goodness.
Do you think
I'd have to. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Do you think you'd ever like have that conversation with him ever, or is it just one of those things like it just is what it is?
It is what it is, man. Like I'm like some people can. Like I don't think my relationship with him is good. Like I don't need to like change it.
Yeah.
Like, and I definitely want to like hammer this down. Like I don't think that I'm better than him because
Mhm. Yeah.
it kind of. I know that like it could sound like that. Like I definitely don't like view that. It's just, sometimes you've outgrown some aspects of the other person that they just kind of hold on to, and it's like it's not something that like I need for me.
Right.
Like it's not an aspect that I can relate to anymore. So yeah, like I have outgrown certain parts, right?
Yeah. I like that certain parts thing. I'm
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily. Yeah, it doesn't mean like you've outgrown them entirely and then
Yeah.
you just kind of cut them off.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's hard to do that, and like I understand that. And I've definitely been in the well, why don't you just cut them off? I've done that too, and it's like um, or like given terrible advice like that, but like you can't sometimes,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It depends. Like if it's family, like you can't always just cut them out.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's easier when they're on the other side of the world. You just don't talk to them.
Exactly. That's easier.
That makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
You know what you do? You just don't have them on Facebook, and then like you never have to look at them ever again.
Block 'em. I just did that
I've
today.
done that too. Yeah, see, it's like, oh, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh no, I've gone from 659 friends to 658. What am I going to do? My podcast is never going to be famous in the Philippines anymore. Like, who cares?
Right.
Whatever.
Life goes on. Life goes on. So, Taria, what about you? Have you ever outgrown anybody in your life?
um, I think so. I think so.
Mhm.
And it goes back to my point where I said, like, you know what, I'm not the same person I was a year ago, or 5 years ago, or
Mhm.
10 years ago. And definitely, I have outgrown some people. Um, like we haven't talked in a while and stuff like that. It's like it's not like any love lost, but it's just like okay, like
Mhm.
for me, I see you still doing the same thing, and like
Mhm.
for me it's different now. Like I want something different. Like I'm looking to like be financially independent or stable and don't have to rely on like a 9 to 5, you know.
Mhm.
I want, I just want like that freedom just to do what I want to do. And like, people are still stuck in working for like their employer, and like that's not the wave anymore for me, at least. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even like certain things in life, like certain life goals that I want to achieve, they're not interested in that. So
Mhm.
I think we have slowly distanced ourselves from one another because I think we see like our paths are different now and it's changing. But
Mhm.
again, there's no love loss. I still have love for them, but I don't think like like our friendship will continue to grow. So yeah, I think that's where it is. So
Mhm.
yeah, like I think it happens, right? Like it's not intentional. It's just that like we all have a different path in life.
Mhm.
And I guess also to piggyback on your point, Mara, is like I have people I haven't spoken to for a while back home as well. But like I'm sure the minute we talk, it's like we just spoke
Mhm.
yesterday. It's like,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I think it's like that unspoken like understanding that like yes, okay, like we all have our lives, we're doing our
Yep.
own thing, uh,
Mhm.
like we're achieving certain things, and it's like no love lost. And I think I value those friendships more because like
Yep.
we have this understanding, unspoken understanding, like okay, like we get it, like we don't have to speak every day.
Yep.
You're out there doing your thing, I'm here doing my thing. Let's
Mhm.
just get to the bag and let's just keep going, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
What about you, Lynden?
Period. So here's the thing. These conversations brought some type of clarity for me.
Mm,
That thing that Mars said, outgrowing certain parts.
Mhm.
I okay, maybe that's what's happening with me because I didn't think about it like that. I thought
right.
about it
Yeah.
as either where like I've outgrown you completely or not at all, not just like some
Yeah.
parts of who you are, you know.
Yeah. Because it's
Um,
not like a total. It's not a total thing, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Like it's all of these. Like, 'cause, I mean, humans are complicated. Like
yes,
we're complex creatures,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, I mean, like there could be some people that are just absolutely terrible, like to their core, that you've known that you're like, oh, like, I think it's best to outgrow you, right? So,
Exactly.
but yeah, for others
Exactly.
it's different. Sorry, go ahead, go ahead, keep going.
I yeah, I have people in my life right now that I thought that I outgrew them until I had this conversation with you two. But I think I just outgrew certain parts of who they are. So I don't think I need to cut them off completely. I
Mm-hmm.
just think I need to continue to do what I do, which is I just don't participate in certain things that they participate in because it's just not my
Mm-hmm.
thing. And I don't
Yeah.
want to judge them or make them feel bad because they enjoy doing something that I don't. It's just that I'm so sick and tired of putting myself in situations where I know I'm not comfortable and
Mm-hmm.
that I don't want to be in. You know what I mean? I'm too
Mm-hmm.
old for that. And it has nothing to do with being a certain age, with being 30 or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. For me, it's just, I feel like I'm just on a certain path. There's a certain path that I want to take. And there are certain things that I'm trying to accomplish. And I
Mm-hmm.
can't accomplish those things if I just continue to do the same things I did when I was 19. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I like just like Mar, I don't really drink. You know, that was never
Mm-hmm.
really my thing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like after high school, I was over it. The whole partying and going to clubs thing, it was never my thing. And people used to make me feel guilty about that. Like, oh, you don't go to clubs? What do you do for fun? Like, you're boring. You know, I struggled with that for a long time, feeling as though I could never really have friends because everyone at my age wants to do the same thing. So it's just hard for me. Like I realized that I found friends just based on small parts of who they were. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna grasp onto this one thing, and we're just gonna be friends based off of that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I just I don't know. It's hard for me to put into words.
Yeah.
I just feel like I don't really know. I have good friends like you, Mar. Like you're a good friend. I think
Mm-hmm.
that was a lucky strike. But for the most
Oh,
part,
stop.
for the most part,
Stop. You won the jackpot. What are you talking about?
for the most part, I feel like
Everyone should have a friend like me.
everyone like what am I
Everyone should.
what am I doing wrong? I feel like where I go wrong is I look for friends that are
Mm-hmm.
I want friends that are exactly like me, and there's no such thing.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
Mhm.
such thing. But I have an example of a friend that I've outgrown.
Okay.
Um, so I can say his name. I don't care. Okay, his name is Andrew. So Andrew was a very. I mean, he was like one of my best friends, and I met Andrew in 2015, right at that hotel that I was on the news about. That same hotel. I met
Okay.
him there, and we became like fast friends. Like it was great. So fast forward to 2018, I think it was. I was already here in Canada, and he would always tell us, like me and Michael, "Oh, I want to come over there too. I want to be with you guys." Blah blah blah. So,
Mm-hmm.
and Andrew was always a little bit older than us. Andrew is like, I think now he's probably like 34. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so we said, okay, like if you're serious about coming, then let's make it happen. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was working at the time, and Andrew's had a really hard life, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
we bought his plane ticket and everything, and just to try to make it easier for him to to transition over. So we did that. He came over. It was great. He ended up staying with me for a bit, and you know, I don't want to really talk. I don't like talking about things that I do for people because I did it because I wanted to do it, but
Mm-hmm.
just want to put it out there. Like I did a lot of things to make sure that Andrew didn't have to suffer the way that
Mm-hmm.
I did when I first came here because it
Right.
wasn't easy when I first came. I suffered. I stayed at a homeless shelter, a few of them, and people don't see.
Really?
Yeah, people don't see.
Oh wow.
You didn't even know that because I don't like
Mm-hmm.
talking about it because it makes me emotional.
Yeah.
but and I'm a thug. I don't cry. Okay. So, so like I went out of my way. Both Michael and I went out of our ways to make sure that he didn't have to go through any of that. Anyway,
Hmm.
one day out of the blue, he woke up and I woke up to him standing over me. It was like a horror movie. He was standing over
What
me
the?
and he had on all of his full regalia, all of his clothes that he came in on that flight. He had his
Hmm.
suitcase packed, he had his little hat on, everything. He was ready to go. He was like, I'm ready to go back home. Can you take me to the airport?
What?
And I was like, that was exactly my response. I was like, what? I was like, bitch, what? Like, are you? I was like, get out of here. Like,
How long?
I'm like, you're
How long was
joking.
he? How long was he here for?
He was here for like, at that point, only about a month, I think.
What?
Only about a month.
Mm.
Wow.
And you know what? It was so, it's, anyway, I really put myself at a disadvantage financially, just to make sure that he had what he needed to have. Let's just put it like that.
Did you have a conversation with him about like why he wanted to go back?
I did. I had a conversation with him because I was furious. And
Yeah.
he said he's never been away from his mother for this long, so he wants to go back home to his mother. And I said to him, I said, I get that. I totally get it. I miss my mom too. But at some point, you have to, you have to just grow up. Like, at what point are you gonna say, okay, mom, I'm gonna have to do something for myself to better my life? Like, I can't just, anyway.
Is this a cultural thing too?
In a way, yes, but for the most part, when we turn like 18 or 19, we want out. Like we
Hmm.
move out, we get our own place. But here he is at like 30 something, still living at home and just like being breastfed, in my opinion. And it was just annoying to me that you made us go through all of this because you said you wanted a better life. And now here we are backtracking because you miss your mom. Like you're willing to just throw all of that away
Hmm.
just because you miss your mom. Like FaceTime her if you want to see her. That like you know what I mean. You have to make certain sacrifices if you want
Hmm.
a better life. It's just the way it is. Nothing good comes easy.
Yeah.
So anyway, he didn't get that. He didn't whatever. So we went through the
Have
whole
you-
process of trying to get him to back home,
yeah.
which was expensive and it was very time consuming. I had to take time off of
Oh my
work
god. Oh
and
my god.
everything. This is actually the reason why, and I've never told anybody this, but helping Andrew was part of the main reason why the vehicle I had at that time got repossessed.
What?
That's how much of a financial disadvantage I
Wow.
put myself in to help a friend. Okay? That's just the type of friend I am. He meant
Wow.
more to me than my credit. And credit over here is everything.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
man.
But that's the
Yeah,
type of
man.
friend that I am,
Hmm.
or maybe that I was. So,
I think that's still in there. It's just a little bit
yeah,
more careful, probably. But like, damn, man,
yeah,
oh,
like,
that sucks.
so, and here's the thing. Like I told, like I got him a cell phone and everything, so he to be here, bank account. The night that he left, I called an Uber for him back to the
Hmm.
airport. Give him a big
Hmm.
hug. I'm like, safe trip. Let me know when you get back home. At that point, I was already over it. I'm like, if you want to go back home, it's up to you. You're grown. Just know that I'm not happy with this decision, but I still love you and I still care about
Yeah, of course, of course.
you. So big hug.
Like you could be mad for
I was
sure.
still
You can be
mad.
furious, yeah, but
Um,
shit.
but I never heard from Andrew ever again.
No.
Never heard from him. And
How many years has this been?
this was since 2018.
What?
Well, he left in January, I think, of 2019. That's when he left to go back
Right.
home. I
Oh
haven't
my
heard from
god.
him ever since. And the cell phone that I gave him when he was here,
Yeah.
he gave it back to me. He had smashed the phone. He damaged it before he gave it back to me.
Like purposefully?
I believe so. So the phone was completely trashed, and I never heard from. I messaged him like the next morning because he left like really late that night. I messaged him like early the next morning, and I got one tick on WhatsApp. And
One tick.
one tick,
What does that mean?
that means that he blocked me.
Oh wow.
He blocked me
Wow!
on WhatsApp, blocked me on Facebook, Instagram, everything. Like he just cut me off completely.
Wow!
And to this day, I don't know why he did that.
Hmm.
And for a long time after that, I tried to reach out to him. Like I reached out to one of his cousins that's also a good friend of mine,
Hmm.
and they just said that Andrew was telling people a different story, that he was over here starving, didn't have food to eat. I'm like, what?
Oh, like this is all like projection too, right?
Yeah.
Like probably like he had to like make food for himself, and like that
Hmm.
constitutes starving and stuff.
Yes.
Like it sounds like a very it's hearsay until you hear it from him,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
That's infuriating too.
Infuriating. And it took me a long time to get to the point where I was like, you know what? Even if he were to like somehow reach out to me magically and say something, I feel like I've outgrown him.
Hmm.
I don't think I would want to be friends with someone who would do something like that to someone that cared so much for you. Like, why
Yeah,
would I want to be friends with you now?
yeah.
Like,
Especially after like hearing, oh well, this is like my experience. I'm like, oh, you just want to leave, and
yeah,
then you reach out to somebody else to just be like, hey, like I could never, I never heard anything from him. I asked him,
right,
and then like, oh wow, this is completely different from the story that he's telling.
exactly,
That's infuriating. Like that's just like not just opening the wound, but like making a couple extra stabs too.
exactly. Yeah, that really hurt me to
Hmm.
my core. And it still hurts me to this day to think about, like,
Yeah.
why would you do that to me? You know? I don't know if maybe he thought I was going to ask for some money back. I don't want anything from you. We're friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I would never say you have to pay me back if I do something for you. Who does that?
Right.
But
And like if you were friends, like if I would think I would think that that would be something that I would feel obligated to as a friend to give
hmm,
you back anyway.
yeah,
Like it's not even spoken. It's
hmm,
just like yo, like you helped me out. Like you may not say, oh hey, like I spent like X amount of money.
hmm,
You would be like, I'm gonna fish for like how much was that, and then like down the line when I'm able to,
yeah,
like oh this is the stuff that you gave me. Let's get started.
yeah,
Like thank you, and here, and that would be unexpected, right? Like that. I think that would just man, that fucking sucks. Dude. I'm
yeah.
sorry. That's wow.
I'm sorry
Yeah.
too that it had to go down. And Tario was right there the whole time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He knew Tario knows what happened. Um, it was rough. And the thing about it is,
Yeah.
Andrew was supposed to stay with Michael when he first came, right? Because Michael has a much bigger place and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael, one of Michael's roommates was like, "Oh no, like Andrew cannot come here." It was very last minute. So at the
Mm-hmm.
last minute, and this was when I was renting a room in someone's apartment at the time. So
Oh
that's
no.
why we had planned for Andrew to stay with Michael, but it wasn't Michael's fault. Michael's roommate was just he had an issue with Andrew from way in the past. So Andrew ended up staying in my room. I
Wow.
had to get him a mattress and put it on the floor. He stayed in my room and everything. Anyway, just to say that I would do anything for a friend. Anything,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And for him to do that to me in return, if he were to reach out to me today, I don't think I would have anything to say to him at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the same person I was in 2018, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to tolerate that from anybody
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
now.
Hmm.
And I feel like I would be doing myself a disservice and all the progress I've made a disservice to let someone like him just walk right back into my life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in that regard, I feel like I've completely outgrown him. Uh, that's
Would you say, is that like, did you outgrow him or did you just cut him off? Like, that's different, isn't it?
mm, I I don't know. Like I never like I never blocked him on anything. Like I didn't want to cut him off. right? And
Hmm.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Mm.
Yeah, right. Because I mean, like, if you're outgrowing someone, like, there are things that you just don't agree with them. This is just like, oh, like, you just never talk to me again.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what he's going through, really. Like, and
Hmm.
that sucks. Like, either you want to know and just be like, no, this is what happened, or it's just like, I don't give a fuck at this point. Like,
A part of me wants to know. I still want
yeah.
to know, like, what was the reason?
Hmm.
What was the reason? I want to know. Uh, but I just don't think.
I need an update on this.
Yeah, I need an update.
Down the line, like I feel like this is something that we're gonna just revisit.
I need an
Maybe.
update on this. And I don't know. I don't like to cut people off.
Yeah.
I find that very hard to do with people that used to be good friends of mine. Like just cut you
Hmm.
off completely.
Yeah.
Um, I just don't know what type of person would you have to be to do to someone what Andrew did to me.
Hmm.
That's a part of Andrew I want no part of. You
Hmm.
know, I feel like there are still good parts to him because that's why we were friends in the first place.
Right.
But it's whatever that part of him is. I feel like that part of him, I can't,
Mhm.
I can't deal with that. I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but no, no.
Hmm.
So anyway, that's my story.
Yeah.
Oh
I've got a small one too.
yeah,
Like, I
sure.
just something that I noticed, like, from back. So like I've been in Toronto. I guess, like, now it's like, what, 6 years?
Ooh.
I think something like that. Like, so I'm from the East Coast of New Brunswick.
Mhm.
Uh, East Coast of New Brunswick. I'm from the East Coast, the province of New Brunswick. Um, like a really small town,
Mhm.
and so I think it was like right after I graduated, and I went back to college, like, after to try to upgrade myself, and I think that year I went back to New Brunswick just for a visit for a few weeks, and I remember, like, like, even just the moment, like, stepping into, like, my parents' house, I was like, oh wow, like, physically speaking, like, I've outgrown this house.
Mm.
And then even, like, just looking at the town itself, it's like I feel like I have outgrown it. Living in Toronto is very different. Like, learning to come from such a small place and then come to Toronto
Mhm.
it's a game changer, right? Like, it's a completely different, like, video game system.
Yeah.
It's so drastically different, right? And then, like, to reverse that and go back, like, there are definitely people that still live there, and I remember, like, always joking, like, when I was younger, just be like, oh man, like, everyone here is like fucking cousins or something, like, not like fucking their cousins, but like, everyone is like a cousin here,
Ah.
like it's, oh, like, these guys are related to those guys, and like those people are dating those guys, but they're not related. They're
Mhm.
from a different town. It's like, I don't fucking know who these people are, And then you could even see it because, like, their families would all, they know each other so well because they were younger, and they just grew up in this town. So there's a lot of that, right? Like, my family was like one of, like, maybe 4 or 5, like, families that were not white. And so,
Oh wow.
like, that's just what it is. Like, like, that was never an issue, like, growing up. The only part that was an issue was, like, everyone knew who I was, and, like, I have no fucking clue who you are. Oh, you're Marr. I'm like, yeah, don't know you. You're like, oh, or they'd be like, oh, that's Marr's sister. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you are, man. Like, I don't know you. Like, there's so much of that. So, like, when I went back home and I saw, like, I remember, because my sister still was back there at the time. My sister was still, like, with our parents. Like, she was going through university and stuff, like, online courses, just so she could, for marketing and whenever she graduated,
Mhm.
like, later that year too. But, like, that was such a helpful thing for her. Anyway, she took me. She was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go out to the bar. We're gonna go drinking." I was like, "Well, yeah, it's not my thing anymore." It's like, I outgrew that part of my sister.
Mhm.
But but, like, I remember when we got to the bar, and the bar,
The bar.
when I got out to the bar.
Is that a New Brunswick thing?
Just the way you say it, oh my god, it slips out sometimes.
Bar.
So like you would get out, and then people recognize me, like they recognize me from there, and I was just, this is so small. Like I don't know what, like I can't imagine living here or like restructuring my life to grow up in this town anymore. Like I can't do it. Like you just outgrow that place. Like I would visit for my family, but like other than that, I would never want to. I don't. It's not like I hate the people that are there.
Right.
It's just it's kind of like it's solidified the fact that like like this town was very small to begin with, and it was just something that I learned and I grew with, and I just don't want anything to do with it.
Right.
I don't hate it. I just like, yeah, it's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
I can say that looking back at my life now.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
That's a good point. Because Terrell, you're originally from the Bahamas, right?
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
piggybacking off what Mar said, Mar's just spitting facts today. Okay, like what? Um, do you think if you were to ever go back to the Bahamas, do you think that's someplace you could ever live again after all this time?
Looking
Thinking of the
at
people and the mindset too.
right, absolutely. Considering all of that, factoring into the mindset of the people, some of the people,
Mm-hmm.
um, and like just how the economy is right now. Like, I, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying no right now because like I don't see it improving. Um, but like, however, ultimately, like home is where the heart is. Like, I don't
Right.
know if Mar you feel that way, but like I get it. Like every country in the world is imperfect, and by far my hometown isn't. But I don't know. I don't foresee myself like, yeah, to like visit and stuff like that. But to say long term, I don't see that.
Why though?
I think it's because we have a lot of ways to go, like in terms of like advancement, infrastructure, certain like systems such as like healthcare and education, employment, stuff like that. Like yeah, especially now considering that the pandemic has affected the entire world. Um,
Yeah.
I see other Caribbean countries, trying to sustain their citizens, and I right now I don't know. I think you know the government could do better right now, but I also feel that way with the Canadian government too, or the provincial government, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know,
Yeah.
like I say, right now I don't see myself, um, you know, but also home is where the heart is. You know what I mean? Like I
Right.
can't ever forget. Like you can take me out of the Bahamas, but you can't take the Bahamas out of me, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
they could take it out of me. They could take it all the way out of me. I cannot. No, I can't. And I won't. I won't.
Yeah.
I just can't. Like they don't even have like here they have the TTC, which has its own challenges, right?
Oh my
But like
god.
I can't go back there and like you know what I mean? Like they don't even have that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they don't have a proper. No, I can't do it. Like once you know better, you do better. I know better now.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good way to put it. No,
Yeah.
that is very true, right? Like there's certain things that you have just been accustomed to,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and like I get that. So I can kind of see like you know you're forced to kind of grow up in certain ways. Like
Yeah.
when you come from a very different like culture, like country, even if it's just like another province, like for myself, a country is for you guys, right? Like
Hmm.
it's you've had to grow. You have no choice, right? And some people, like your friend, they chose not to, right?
Yeah.
And you just get used to. That was definitely a tangent that worked out better in my head, but like that's where Yeah, no, I lost it. I lost it. I totally lost it. It was good. It was good. It was up here.
I see where you were
Oh
going,
man,
though. I see where you're going.
It was gonna be
shit!
good. It was gonna be
I
fun.
had a good one.
Want to try
Oh,
again?
let's cut that and then let's come back to it maybe. But like, no, I think it was going to be like really. That was going to be a really good pearl, but
Very
I'm
profound.
yeah, no, I was a guru of sorts right there for sure. So, no, fuck, I totally lost it. Oh man,
It'll come
yep,
back. Like
it'll come back.
it'll come back after we're done watching.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
We'll just get on a quick call like afterwards, just like,
yeah,
no, this is what I was talking about.
just add that part in.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh man, this was a good one though.
This was
Yeah.
good. Did you have other questions? Like, did you write more down, or?
Um, I didn't have any more questions. I have that list that I was telling you guys about.
Yeah.
Um,
Did we even go through it all? Did we get to just like two? Like
I
number
think we just
two?
got through like two of those points on the list.
Yeah. Do you want to just kind of go through them anyway
Yeah, I'll go through
and
them.
just see?
Yeah,
hmm
so number one was you're both always too busy.
Yeah.
So one person never has time. And it could be due to like a work schedule or if they have kids, they're going through a divorce, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one was you don't really care to connect. So you don't enjoy what the other person enjoys doing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they want to go to a club and you don't want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one is you crave new friends. So you just want different people in your life. Like you don't really have an issue with your current friends, you just crave new friends, right? So
Mm-hmm.
apparently that's a thing for some people. The fourth one is the only thing you have in common is the past. So
Mm,
Oh, that's a good
yeah,
one.
that's deep.
so Mark kind of touched on it a little bit too. I think the way you did as well. Um, like living in your glory days kind of thing,
Yeah.
where you just kind of hang on to that one thing that happened like 10 years ago, and that's really the only thing you have in common, but nothing else.
Yeah.
The fifth thing is you constantly judge or criticize them. So that's a sign that you have potentially outgrown somebody.
Mm-hmm.
The sixth one is you can't get past a fight. So, like some friends have arguments, disagreements sometimes, but if you find that it's just lingering and you can't seem to get past it, then maybe
Mm-hmm.
this friendship has reached the end of the road. The seventh one is you don't feel supported. So I don't have that issue with Mar. Mar supports everything that I do. But
Mm-hmm.
you have friends that don't care about anything that you do. Like you say, "Oh, I just started a podcast," and they don't even bother to just listen to one episode at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then maybe that's a sign that you're growing apart. And then the eighth one is you run out of things to talk about. So there's like these awkward pauses and like nobody knows what to say.
Yeah.
We already talked about the same thing last week. What are we going to talk about this week?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
hmm
and then the ninth one is what Terrio mentioned on. You're in different seasons of life.
Mm-hmm.
Eh.
Yeah, different seasons. So Marge kind of touched on it too when he said that maybe like, you have a friend that just got married and you're still single. That's like a different season they're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe like certain things that you used to do, they can't do anymore. They have outgrown that part of the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different seasons, but you can still be friends. You just
Yeah.
have to change
There's
things
just
up.
yeah. There's just more things to consider, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't like if you stagnate and like you don't grow yourself, like
Hmm.
that's a problem in itself, right? Like
Yeah.
you're gonna continuously be outgrown by your peers.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
I can use Michael before we end. I can use Michael as a good example. Um, because I don't think I'll ever outgrow Michael. I don't think he'll ever outgrow me. Even though we do a lot of things that are different. Like
Yeah.
Michael likes to drink and party and like he's very that person. I'm not. But
Okay.
even though I don't enjoy doing that, I know that it makes Michael happy. So it makes me happy that he's happy doing that.
Hmm.
Uh, so So I don't think I'll ever outgrow him in that aspect, but he knows. I've made it very clear to him as a friend that I don't enjoy doing these type of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when you have these events and you invite me and I don't show up, they might not know why, but you know why.
Yeah.
So no hard
Right.
feelings, and he gets it and I get it. So I think having those conversations too are important. Just have that transparency with your friends, so that they
Yeah.
know what you're all about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you. And I know we're ending, but I wanted to say something earlier that I forgot to say, and
Yeah.
it left my train of thought, and then it came back.
You had a Mar moment. You had a Mar moment.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. I like that. Yeah. I think it was just like going back to, I guess, Lyndon, you're telling us about like your friend Andrew and stuff like that. Um, and I think Mar asked you like a question, like, do you think like I forgot what the question was, but it was like, um,
Oh, was it like? Do you think you've like actually outgrown them, or you just cut them off completely?
right, right, right.
Hmm.
And you, Lyndon, you were unable to like basically answer because you were like, you don't know. But like that caused me to think, you know what I mean? And it was like, and I guess it goes back to one of those points of like how you outgrow someone.
Hmm.
Um, and like it stuck out to me, and that's what caused it to come back to my memory. Um, I think like with the point where you were saying like if you have an argument that you guys just can't get from or move forward from,
Hmm.
um, I don't know, like that stuck out like a sore thumb to me because for me personally, I think I've had that experience before with a former friend, and it's
Oh,
like like for me the argument wasn't like that deep or whatever, and I just thought like okay, we needed space, and then like I tried to reach out to them, and like I too didn't get any response and like that, and so like I just thought like okay, I don't know, like for me as like okay, maybe we weren't really friends because for like I don't think like that argument was so big where we can't move forward from together, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
mhm.
And so like that's what made me think, and maybe that's the question you maybe also have to look at,
Hmm.
or maybe keep that in mind, like like was this person really a friend, like because if like like especially like based on what you were telling us about the situation, like it wasn't that deep, like you said, like at the end you still gave your friend a hug and he was like okay, see
Yeah.
you, safe
Mhm.
travels and stuff like that, and like for them to just not like say anything to you or like just like do that, like it's very weird. And I understand Mars point where like they might have been going through something, but it's like okay, like like I don't know, it's just very weird. So like I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe that's a question you need to probably think about as well.
Yeah. Because that's a whole like situation you got to peel back
Yeah.
Yeah.
stuff on, right? Like it's is it just they just never wanted to talk again, or like maybe they even just felt embarrassed about the whole situation and
Yeah.
like to kind of save face for themselves, they
Yeah.
decided a better story of like how I couldn't eat as opposed to I miss my mama.
Right.
Like
Hmm.
that could just be like a pride thing, and that's not a you problem
Yeah. True.
either, right? Like that's a them problem.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point. I have a lot of forgiveness in my dark heart, so maybe I don't know.
you got one of those?
I yeah, I just got one on Amazon.
I was
It was
actually thinking
Yeah,
that too, like
that was when you say like I got it from Amazon, like that you could have just got that drop shipped from like AliExpress,
right,
right?
like we're buying on now
no. I got the quickest one I saw. I just
Yeah,
emailed
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
on Amazon Prime.
yeah.
So yeah, this was great. Thank
This was
you,
fun.
Oh,
thank
yeah,
you,
I agree.
thank you both
Yeah, this was a
for
lot of
being here
fun.
today.
Absolutely.
When this pandemic is done, then maybe we don't have to have a virtual studio all the time. Maybe we can
Yeah,
record at a Popeyes or something. Who knows?
yeah, yeah. We'll just buy it out and.
Yeah, exactly. And then maybe they'll sponsor us. Hmm.
Oh man, that'd be perfect. You know what we should do? Wait, we have that like lockdown or whatever, or
Hmm.
like emergency break, stay
Yeah.
at home order, whatever, whatever. Is
Hmm.
that like? exclude parks?
I don't know actually.
Mm,
Maybe we could find a park and record.
That would be good.
That would be cool. That
yeah,
would actually be pretty cool.
It would be
I would
great.
be down for that.
And me too. I'm down.
it just can't be like windy or something, cause yeah, unless you have
Yeah.
like a thingy like to buffer the wind.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I'll have to get one of those. I eventually have to get one anyway, but
Oh, like one of those boom mics.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
we'll figure it out.
Oh man, we'd have like a whole crew and everything, and then we just won't pay them.
But I like
We'll
that
pay them
park
in, we'll pay
idea.
them in Popeyes. Yeah, me too. I think
Yeah.
that would be
For
pretty
scene
cool.
points, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So we've
we're
reached that point in the episode where we usually share our social media stuff. Mar, are you one of those people that like to share your social media, or do we have to catch you when we can?
Oh no, you can find me on all my social media garbage. It's just kind of you can find me. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So you want me to
Yeah.
just okay. So if you want to follow my amazing live tweeting of Doug Ford's bullshit policies, it's at Marr underscore Umali UMALI. Very straightforward. It's just me. I'm not trying to hide anything. And then I've got two Instagram accounts. If you do want to follow it, I have to remember what they are. Give me 1 second. You can tell like this is not something that like I do and like have people like find out. Okay, so that's my name. So it's Ran.Wilder, like RAN dot WILDER, kind of like Van Wilder. Ever watch that? Van Wild? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's kind of where I got it from.
Oh, nice.
So there's that one, and then we have an Instagram account of our two cats.
Oh,
Yeah. So Sadie and Go-Go. So that's for Sadie, who's our tortie with attitude, and Gojira Moonstone, who is our brand new Sphinx baby.
wow! I love that
Ooh.
last name.
Yeah, Sadie and Go-Go. Yeah.
Oh man, that was cool. All right, Rio. What about you?
yes, you can follow me on Instagram and YouTube at Rio's Rules. That's REOSRULES. Instagram and YouTube. I would really appreciate it. This was so much fun.
Thank you very much. And you have a podcast too, right?
Oh, yes, I definitely do. You can catch my podcast. It's called Address It, where we talk about, topics that are usually swept under the rug, some current event stuff, things that are happening in pop culture, just like life events. So it's very informative. It's very unfiltered as well. And it's
Mm.
just our, honest, open opinions. Um, and sometimes it's a mess, sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's sad. It's all of those things. So you can definitely find it on where all podcasts are available. And we're coming soon to Apple Podcasts.
Oh, fancy.
Mhm.
Fancy.
Yeah.
You can find it. We're coming to Apple Podcast.
Well,
Someone's outgrown us a little bit, I think.
exactly.
No, it's just like no, it's not that. It's not that. So like you can like find us on Spotify and like um Google Podcast and like Stitcher, all of those other ones. But it's
Yeah.
just like, of course, Apple has to be different from everyone else. You
Yeah.
have to like manually sign up for your podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah,
What was it again?
it's Address It. Address
Oh.
It. Yeah, so it's like addressed, sent to sender. Yeah, sorry, I don't know why. Yeah, did you find it? I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm following it now.
Oh, okay,
Cool.
perfect. Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
well, thank you for that. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And well, you can find me. Um, just go to my Instagram, type in Lynden Pope. I have a link there to all of my other social media stuff. My TikTok, my Facebook, everything. So just follow that, and don't forget to follow the Poppy Show podcast, available on all major podcast streaming platforms, including Apple Music, Spotify,
Oop.
Amazon Music, everywhere. We're everywhere. Okay, we're everywhere. You can't miss it. Just search the Poppy Show. Okay. So again, I want to thank Rio's Rules, and I want to thank Marr-Randall for being here today.
Thank you for
This
having me.
Yes, anytime. This was a
Yeah,
lot of fun, and
this was.
we're definitely going to have you both back again very soon.
Yes, I hope so. This was a lot of fun. This really was.
This was great. And Michael, wherever you are, I hope you're having a horrible day. And until next time, bye everybody. Thank you guys.
All right,
Bye.
bye.